Hello everyone, just a short informational video for you today, especially for those of you who are preparing for the Cambridge English exams, because there are some changes on the horizon. Now, before I go any further, I want to make it clear that these changes will not directly affect your preparation. Everything you've been doing until now, all the books you've been using, the websites you've been using, the videos you've been watching, even my preparation courses, they are still valid, thankfully. So check out the link in the description if you're interested in my Cambridge English exam preparation courses. But yeah, don't worry, these changes are not as big as the ones we saw, for example, in 2013 when the format of the C2 proficiency exam changed. And then in 2015 for the B2 first and the C1 advanced exams. Those were quite fundamental changes in the format. You know, books had to be updated, YouTube videos that were made before then became obsolete, even courses. But no, that's not the case here. But the changes I'm going to talk about in this video are still important and you need to know about them, basically. I should also mention that I get this information from Frank, my friend and colleague, Frank Cariso. And if you want a more detailed explanation about all of these changes, I recommend you check out his podcast, his fantastic podcast, What You Say in English. You can find it on all the typical podcast platforms. So what changes can we expect to see in the Cambridge English exams over the next few months and years? Well, to summarize it, I think we could basically say that Cambridge Assessment English are modernizing. And that's a good thing, I think you'll agree. I think it's good to know that they are keeping updated with the trends, particularly in technology. For example, they're going to start testing remote speaking exams. So, as you know now, probably, that for your speaking paper, you need to be in an examination center in a room with your partner or partners, the interlocutor and the assessor. But the idea in the future is to be able to take the exam remotely, which I think is good. Generally, I think it's a positive change. It gives people more options. You know, people who live in more remote areas, if they have an internet connection, they can, I guess they will be able to take the exam from the comfort of their own home. How they will do that, I don't know, because obviously there are issues with some candidates potentially cheating, and they have to be very careful with that. Also, regarding the speaking paper, this is a little change, but I think it really demonstrates the direction that Cambridge are going, because they want to reduce the amount of paper they use. They want to reduce their carbon footprint. You may know that in the speaking paper you get pictures, visual stimuli, so visual materials. But now in the future they're planning to use that in a digital format, so it will probably be on a tablet or some kind of screen. So you can imagine they don't have to send these printed pictures out to all corners of the world, every examination center. So I think in general we're going to be seeing Cambridge Assessment English becoming more modern. We're going to see some rebranding, maybe the website, the logo, the corporate identity, but that doesn't really affect you that much. What will affect you, probably, depending on where you live, is the next big piece of news. And that's that the British Council will no longer be offering exams in their centres, at least in many countries. Now, it's not clear at the moment which countries, or whether it's all the countries or just some countries, but in Spain, for example, the British Council, from April of next year, from April of 2023, they will not be offering the Cambridge English exams in their centres. I think it's the same in France, I think in Portugal. I recommend you check with your local British Council if you are planning to take the exam in one of their centres. Check with them just to be sure. And the last change I wanted to talk about today, it's quite a big one, and I actually think this one's a bit of a pity. I don't agree with this one. It's regarding the set text options for the writing paper of the B2 First for Schools and the C2 Proficiency. Now, for those of you who don't know, for those exams, the C2 Proficiency and the B2 First for Schools, you have an extra option for the writing paper. And the option is to read a book before the exam and then answer one of two questions on the book. So for the C2 Proficiency, for example, there are two books. Until now, they have changed every 2 years. At the moment, it's Us by David Nichols and Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. So you read those books and then you answer the questions in the exam. That is still an option with those books until the end of 2023. Okay, so if you're reading the books now, if you have read the books and you're planning to to choose that option in the exam, it's fine. You will have that option in the exam. From 2024, there will be no set text option. As I said, for me personally, I think it's a shame because I think it encouraged people to read a little bit more, and I think it just gave people an extra option, and it was a positive option because people could be a little bit more prepared for the writing paper. I always encourage my students to choose this option, but I think generally people are reading less these days, so it's the way it's going. But that's it. Those are the changes. As I said, check out Frank's podcast if you want to get more detailed information. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them. But enjoy your preparation, and I'll see you soon for another video.